Well, I've been promising you updates on the garden, but we had such a busy May with Rome events and then following the National Eucharistic Pilgrimage to the Archdiocese of Dubuque. But one positive thing that happened during that whole time when I was so involved and couldn't spend a lot of time in my garden is that we had really record rainfalls here in Alabama. Usually we get about 4.5 inches of rain in May, and this year we got 10.5. And I was actually grateful because I didn't have time to water the garden this year, and the Lord took care of it through these abundant rainfalls. But a dear lady sent me 16 rose plants, which I happily planted here for my Mary garden, including some climbing roses that are going to follow this trellis. So I'm looking forward to see how that will develop, but just gorgeous blossoms that we have here on the Mary garden. And let me show you what's happening in the garden as well. So over here I've got the 2 raised beds, and I've got some marigolds planted here in the front and also some over in the other bed. But over here we've got some carrots going, and they're doing really well. Tomato plants, a variety from yellow cherry tomatoes, which I love, and an heirloom tomato called Cherokee purple tomatoes. And then just a better boy, regular one, because Brother Leo likes those red ones. Then I've got some different types of peppers, some garlic, some onions, an eggplant. Here's bush beans. I always like those better than the pole beans, so that's what I plant. And then I have some cucumbers here and something that the Sicilians love called cucuzza. So I'm planting that for the first time to see how that will do. It's doing great so far. And then over here on my left, I have this spring mix. We've already had 2 harvests that the friars have enjoyed. Just delicious, tender. I've got some leeks growing in the back. My beloved kohlrabis are doing really well. Some kale, some spinach. And I have this because I'm starting to see those white butterflies, which are going to lay eggs on these if I don't cover it. So it's going to be covered here pretty soon. And then finally we have some peas here, which are starting to produce already, these snap peas. And then on the other side I have some herbs. But I also told you about, we're going to follow this compost pile, something that just volunteered and grew out of it, some type of squash. So let's take a look at that too. So you can see it's produced an abundant amount of blossoms here. Unfortunately, right now they're all male blossoms. There's no female blossoms, so there's no fruit that's happening. And understand that sometimes that's actually the first thing that will happen. It's going to produce these male blossoms, and hopefully some female ones will come along. But I just had some sisters here that were visiting here, and they said, well, we love just to cook these up, that they're really delicious. So maybe I'll try that out too, trying these blossoms. But you know, I wanted to say a little bit about just this abundant rainfall. We're getting ready for Pentecost Sunday, or it's Pentecost Sunday, and we're praying for the Holy Spirit to come. And St. Cyril of Jerusalem, he has a beautiful meditation on this, of how the rain is the same to all the plants that receive the rain, but it has a different effect in each one, that the Holy Spirit adapts himself to each of our particular needs, just as the rain adapts it to the peas or the carrots or the dill or the kohlrabis, that it adapts itself to the particular needs of the plant. The Holy Spirit adapts to our particular needs in giving us all that we need. So let's especially invoke the Holy Spirit to come anew. St. Teresa of Avila also has a beautiful meditation on prayer and watering the garden. And so she said, you know, our prayers, we start out, it's kind of laborious. It's like having a well and you're taking the bucket from the well and you're going to the garden and you're pouring it on. It's a very labor-intensive activity. But then as we grow in our life of prayer, it becomes simpler. And it's more of what God is doing in us. So that she describes it as a water wheel where there's less effort, but then there's a stream where it's all of God's work. And then finally the rain, that's the ideal, right? Because that's where God is doing all things to draw us closer to himself and his love. So let us invoke the Holy Spirit to come anew, to give us gifts of prayer, so that we may enter into that deep intimacy with the Lord.